Hey guys, this is AnimeBallZ here, and today we're going to be doing the first part of what if Naruto was an Ape Sage. This Ape Sage mode is quite different to what you normally expect. It works different, so if it causes a bit of confusion, just put it in the comments and I'll explain it to you. There's nothing much else I want to say in the intro, so without further ado, let's get into the video.
Slick talker since a jit. Winter time, all the time, ooh, yeah. Look at the way that I move, swag. Disrespectful and I'm rude, okay. I had cocaine in the school.
Thanks to the person that gave this idea to me, I definitely appreciate it and see the potential with it. Back to the video, an Ape Sage is similar to a Fox Sage except it's an ape. It's not an ordinary ape either, it's an Uzaru. If any of you guys don't know what an Uzaru is the ape form that Saiyans take on the full moon if they have their tail. After the Chunin exams preliminaries, Jiraiya picks up Naruto as a student. Naruto says, "What are we going to be doing? Because I need to get strong, quick." Jiraiya says there's two options. An easy option is for you to learn a toad summoning. Yeah, let's do that. Naruto says, "No, what's the other option? I want the hard one. I need to do so to be Hokage one day." Jiraiya says there's no point. In the Black Mountains there are a group of sage masters called the Ape Sages or Uzaru. The leader of them is Sun Wukong, but he normally just goes by the nickname Goku. Naruto says, "Let's do that then." Jiraiya says, "Even I was never able to do something like that. Even the imperfect version is very difficult to gain." Naruto says, "I don't care, I'm still gonna do whatever it takes." Jiraiya says, "Just quit it, kid, I'm not even sure they're there still." Naruto says, "Then we'll check everywhere, I'm not missing up on this chance." Jiraiya says, "You know what, if you manage to land a hit on me, I'll let you train on the Ape Sage mode." Naruto weaves his first hand sign and says, "Alright, let's do it." 20 shadow clones come from behind him and all rush Jiraiya. Jiraiya is able to swiftly dodge every attack and destroy the shadow clones. Naruto then surprises him from behind the shadow clone and throws a quick kick. Jiraiya dodges and palm pushes him. Naruto flies back and rolls across the floor. He grasps his chest and thinks, how is he so strong? He stands and pulls out Shuriken. He throws all three and Jiraiya dodges all three with ease. Naruto runs past him suspiciously and Jiraiya doesn't even attack him. He picks up his Shuriken and takes wires. He ties them to the Shuriken and then puts them in his mouth. Jiraiya laughs and says, "What are you doing?" He says, "Just you wait." He throws the 3 Shuriken behind Jiraiya, then he pulls them back. He quickly weaves hand signs and 80 shadow clones appear. Those 80 shadow clones come from behind Naruto. Jiraiya sees the shadow clones, but then Naruto closes in on him with the Shuriken. He runs around Jiraiya as fast as he can, then pulls the Shuriken to Jiraiya's side. As this is happening, shadow clones are rushing at him. However, Jiraiya leaps up and the gush of wind from his speed pushes the Shuriken away and the shadow clones are unable to touch him. He lands a few meters away and the clones all turn to him. Naruto says, "Go in, I've got this." He throws 2 kunai at him and Jiraiya dodges both without losing eye contact with him. Naruto swings a Shuriken and hurls them. Jiraiya dodges the 3, then takes out a shadow clone. He spins in the air and dodges the Shuriken as well as taking out 4 shadow clones in the process. One by one, he continues to knock out shadow clones while dodging the Shuriken. Naruto smiles as the shadow clones disappear and says, "This isn't over." He creates 10 shadow clones and they all get a Shuriken with 1 wire. They all spin it and 50 shadow clones of Naruto run at Jiraiya. Jiraiya is able to easily deal with them and then the Naruto shadow clones with the Shuriken close in. They all throw their Shuriken while swinging it around randomly. Jiraiya clearly shows some more difficulty in dodging the attacks. A Shuriken swings past the shadow clone and destroys it. Jiraiya turns and ducks under the Shuriken. A kick is waiting below, but he bounces up while kicking out a shadow clone behind him. As he looks up, 5 Shuriken all interrogate his face from random areas. 10 shadow clones are left and multiple are in the air, clogging his vision. He dodges all the Shuriken and almost gets cut once. He backflips away and 2 shadow clones hit each other out of existence. He jumps over 5 shadow clones and knocks out all 8 remaining shadow clones. Naruto then comes close with several Shuriken clones swinging their Shuriken with the wire. Jiraiya shows more difficulty and Naruto comes in for the final attack while he's in the air. Naruto almost hits him, but Jiraiya puts his foot on the floor for a split second and bursts right into the air. Naruto slams into a shadow clone and the last shadow clone is eliminated. Jiraiya says, "Not enough, Naruto." Naruto runs at him in anger and throws flailing punches and kicks. Jiraiya dodges all of the attacks and blocks Naruto by holding his head. Naruto says, "Stop!" Jiraiya says, "You're not worthy." He lets go and Naruto stands there. He walks away, but Naruto walks up to him and says, "Why not?" Jiraiya says, "You didn't hit me." Naruto goes in for a punch, but Jiraiya slides back. A shadow clone is then standing behind Jiraiya and it hits Jiraiya. Jiraiya laughs and says, "So you planned this, Naruto? Very good." Naruto says, "So I'm in?" Jiraiya says, "Yep." The next day, they meet the Ape Sage, and Ape Sage says, "Greetings, Jiraiya, you've gotten big." Jiraiya says, "Greetings, Uzaruyama." Yama says, "Have you come to try a second time, Jiraiya?" Jiraiya says, "No, actually, I come to try and see if this guy can do it in a month." Yama says, "Can even Leaf Village Hokages pull off a feat like that, Jiraiya? You are a great ninja and you can do it yourself." He says, "Well, let's see how far he gets." Yama says, "I can sense there's a great mass of evil within you. It almost seems like it's from a completely different entity." Naruto says, really? He says, "Indeed." Naruto says, "How do you even do this thing? This technique is a control and harness of rage, fury, be as angry as you can. Then feel the energy surrounding you and take it in with your rage. Control both." Naruto shouts and punches him. He says, "Nowhere near enough. Think about everything negative. Fuel yourself with rage like you never have before." Naruto stands and clenches his fists. He thinks about the village isolating him, having no parents, being weaker than his rival Sasuke, having some demon inside him against his will, everything. He clenches his fists hard and rushes at Yama. He leaps and throws a punch. Yama blocks and says, "Yes, like that. It is not enough though, and you need to control it." After a week of relentless sparring and training, Naruto gets something. Naruto leaps and kicks Yama. Yama ducks under the kick and heel kicks him back. A shadow clone leaps over Naruto and tries to punch Yama. He follows with an uppercut, but Yama is able to swiftly dodge. Yama leaps back and Naruto slams the floor in rage. He shouts, "Why can't I get it?" His eyes flash red and his hair darkens. He thinks, the rage. Focus it. Make it your fuel, Naruto. He stands with his sweaty body and clenches his fists. His eyes go red and his hair darkens to brown. His muscles buff up and then everything disappears. Yama says, "You are progressing faster than expected, Naruto." Naruto says, "Whoa, what was that? I felt like a sea of energy around me." Yama says, "It is what you're aiming for. It is Ape Sage mode." Naruto says, "Wow." After 3 weeks, he continues with his training. He stands and during sparring, his eyes go red, his hair darkens and his muscles buff up. Hair grows around his wrists and body hair grows. He looks up and a tail protrudes from behind him and waggles. Yama says, "Good, Naruto." Naruto walks forward and makes an Ape Sage mode stance. Yama runs at him and Naruto runs at him too. They clash, then Naruto swivel kicks his head. He then kicks him away. Yama slides back and as Naruto closes in on him, Yama swings out of the way and Naruto falls. He says, "Wow, so this is it." Yama says, "Yes, learn to control that and you could eventually perfect it. Remember, too much anger will turn you into an Uzaru like me forever." Jiraiya says, "No way, he did it?" Jiraiya says, "The imperfect version, yes." Jiraiya says, "Unbelievable." Jiraiya says, "All that darkness really did equate to something, huh?" As the training finishes, Naruto gains a lot of ordinary strength and Jiraiya unseals the 5 elements seal. As this happens, Naruto has access to Kurama again. He gets back just before the Chunin exams and he meets up with his team. The first match is Naruto versus Neji. Naruto makes his way to the battlefield and clenches his fists. Naruto thinks, "Let me test the waters with this guy." Naruto runs up to Neji and throws several punches. Neji is able to dodge every single attack with ease. Naruto steps back and dodges a punch before leaping back. He weaves several hand signs and 25 shadow clones come from behind him. Right after this, Neji hits him with the palms revolving heaven jutsu. The shadow clones fly back and poof away. Naruto comes in and throws a punch. Neji blocks, then Naruto follows with several attacks. Neji is able to block or dodge every one while receiving little damage. Neji punches him in the chin and he poofs away. Naruto comes from behind him, but Neji is still able to duck and dodge the attack. Naruto backflips away and lands. He thinks, how is he doing that? Neji smirks and makes his stance. Kakashi says, "Neji isn't any ordinary child, Naruto. You saw in the preliminaries. Hit him with everything you've got." Naruto closes his eyes and says to Kurama, "You, do you hear me? Give me your power." Kurama scoffs and raises his finger. He says, "As you wish." Naruto gains an orange aura and looks up. He runs right at Neji and leaps into the air. He throws a punch and Neji dodges with ease. 50 shadow clones then appear from behind him and they all interrogate Neji. They are all around him, then Naruto leaps into Neji's blind spot by accident. He dives down and kicks Neji in the back of the head. Neji falls forward and gets gutted by a shadow clone. Neji then swivels over several shadow clones and takes large steps to the other side of the ring. Neji runs in while knocking out the shadow clones and then hits Naruto with the 64 palms. Naruto falls to the floor and thinks, "Why do I feel so weak?" He stands shakily, much to Neji's shock, and looks at him. Naruto's eyes go red and his muscles buff up. He forms the Senjutsu chakra and his hair darkens to dark brown. He drops his arms and smiles. A tail appears from behind him and waggles profusely. He zooms right at Neji with unbelievable speed, then just leaps over him. Neji tracks him with ease, but Naruto falls into his blind spot again. He kicks Neji in the back of the head, then their punches clash. Naruto is able to throw punches while also blocking and dodging some of Neji's attacks. Naruto backflips away and weaves hand signs. 100 shadow clones come from behind him and interrogate Neji. Neji is having serious trouble trying to stop himself from getting hit, and the attacks slowly start to slip his defenses. The shadow clones then step to the side while attacking Neji, and Naruto rushes Neji. A shadow clone grabs Neji's arms from behind and Naruto lands a symbol Ape Sage Mode punch. Neji spits blood and passes out from the impact alone. Naruto steps back and his Sage Mode disappears. Naruto steps back and everyone cheers for him. Naruto's shadow clones poof away and Naruto walks away. He doesn't even take the stairs, he just walks right up the wall using chakra into the stands. Sasuke looks away in fury and Sakura says, "What even was that?" Naruto says, "Something that can beat you, Sasuke." So that will conclude the first part of what if Naruto was an Ape Sage. I hope you guys enjoyed it because I certainly enjoyed making this video. As I said in the start of the video, this Sage Mode is quite different to the normal Sage Mode we see in Naruto. If any of you are confused, and I'll just explain in the comments if you ask me. Thanks so much for watching and I'll see you in the next video.